This is Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Ervin.
Baby, I'm home.
Oh, hey there, everyone. Thank you so much, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm Jim Ervin. We are on the road this evening, and we are recording live in my hometown of Bay City, Michigan. This is the installment of something that I lovingly refer to as the Storytellers Club or the Liars Club, whatever you want to call it. We have some amazing musicians joining me today, and each of them have a bucket of fun stories that we're going to hopefully get them to spill out for us. What I'm hoping to endeavor is to get them to share these stories and just have a good time. And by the way, we even have a few select members in our audience for the recording. Glad to have you here. Let's introduce the people that we have around us as we go on here. The number one blues man, Larry McCray, is over here to my left. We also want to welcome his brother, longtime drummer, Steven. Glad to have you guys here. Thank you very much. We have a young man that Larry met many years ago while he was in high school, and his name is Rhett Yocum. There's Rhett over here to my right. Rhett, ladies and gentlemen, glad to have him here. The next guy is a gentleman who invited me to come to Bay City to record this episode. He is the owner and chief luthier and creator of some incredible driftwood guitars, which you can see behind us right here. Gas can and street sign guitars, Jason Mills. And finally, a gentleman I've been looking forward to meeting for a few months now. He's been involved with Larry's music for many years. And if you are enjoying Larry's last two albums, Blues Without You and Heartbreak City, chances are you're enjoying some of his handiwork. Charlie Walmsley, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So, guys, it's great to have you here. We're going to have a good time. First things first, we have one rule. We just want you to have fun, okay? And I think as the stories start flowing, I think you guys you'll get the idea of what we're doing here. We want to hear your stories, and hopefully I can lure you into sharing a good bunch of them with me. If you have something to add when somebody else is talking, by all means, feel free to find your spot and jump in. You're welcome to do that, okay? So first things first, I'd like to start with each of you and have you share with me how you got involved in music. And I don't want you to tell your story. Okay, I want you to go back to the younger days, all right? We're going to get to that story, though. And if you would, please include what age you realized your passion in music and what led you into this path, because as I'm hosting this, I'm just having a good time with it. So, Charlie, I'm going to begin with you, man. Where did it start for you?
So you're going to go way back.
I'm going to go way back.
Well, I'll tell you what, I took piano lessons at Holy Rosary Academy, the little Catholic school over there.
Oh, no kidding.
When I was in 5th grade, and I asked if I could take them so they were right available in the school. So I signed up, and I took lessons for 1 year, and I really liked it. And I did pretty well, and then the sister, I won't mention her name, kicked me out after 1 year because I didn't practice the way I was supposed to over the summertime. So she kicked me out. So I only took lessons for 1 year, but my folks were nice enough to get a piano at home. So I was messing around on the piano. I remember learning the intro to Ray Charles' What'd I Say, when I was, 9 years old or so, 10, 11 years old. And,
Yeah.
And I got the sheet music for Alley Cat, and played some of that stuff. So I was always messing around on the piano. And then I got involved after the Beatles came out and all that, and guys were getting in bands. And I had an electric guitar in my first band. I was the lead singer, and my qualifications were I was the worst guitar player of the whole group. and I can remember all the words, so I was the lead singer. So that's how I got started.
Wow. All right, Steven, how about you, man? Where did it begin for you?
I'm the youngest of my family, so everybody was pretty much with a couple of them, 2 or 3 of them, of my siblings were already playing and stuff. So and they had a guy that used to come over and jam with them, and I couldn't play at that time. I was probably 11, 12 years old or whatever. But I was jealous of this guy playing the drums, and because my brother Carl had bought the drums. They were his drums, but Carl played bass.
Oh.
So it left me out, and I just, for whatever reason, he stopped coming around, the drummer guy, and then...
Who was drumming?
Brad Brown.
Oh, I remember. Okay.
And then, he told me if you can learn how to play those drums, you can have them.
Wow.
So, needless to say, got in there trying to learn how to play, and that's where it started for me like that. You know, I had older siblings already playing, so I was kind of jealous, and I wanted to be a part of that. So,
Nice.
What,
and
75?
they needed a drummer.
Yeah.
Was it 75, something along
It
there?
was like
76.
it was maybe a little later, 77 or 8, something like that.
But we played in 77 for Laverne Curry.
Well, 6 or 7, somewhere in there.
Okay. All right. How about you, Rhett?
Started out playing accordion and piano. My grandpa took me to some piano lessons after I played accordion with him for a little while, and then just listening to a bunch of old records and started finding, oh, hey, you can kind of slow it down and find the rhythm of what they're doing. You know, it doesn't help with the notes because the pitch changed, but at least you could go through and slow it down real a lot, so that way you could kind of figure out, oh, okay, they're doing this kind of a role and stuff like that, and just kept with the piano for a good long time, and then things changed. But
All right. Jason,
How you doing?
how you doing?
You hear that?
Let's hear your
Who's got
story,
the
man.
squeaky chair?
Is that you?
I don't know. It's not me.
No, I think it's Charlie over here squeaking.
Excuse me.
Go ahead, man.
Well,
Talk
I,
about your start.
My grandfather, he was a state trooper and he retired, and so I got to grow up around him, and he liked to play guitar. He was born in 1909, and so I used to hear about all the stories about him going to the barn dances and growing up in Bay City, and he used to hop a train and go to Highwood when he was a kid and go up to Gladwin.
Nice.
That's where the name Highwood Guitars come from.
Okay.
And then I didn't do anything for a long time until I was about 40 years old. Started getting into my hobby, the cigar box guitars.
That's cool. That's cool. We're going to talk more about that. And, as I said, there's a great big display behind us. It's really cool to see all of the different guitars that you've built through the years, and looking forward to talking to you about those. Larry, how about you, man? Where'd you get your start?
Well, I started singing for people coming over to the house when I was probably about 9 years old, 8, 9 years old somewhere, but just about, before 10 years old. So I started singing first, and I guess, I was little, so I don't know what was going on, but evidently they thought I could sing anyway. And people would come over, and my mother and them, somebody would say, hey, sing a song for them, baby, and they would call me out, and I would be a little kid with my finger in my mouth, and I would be ashamed and looking at everybody, and finally they would coax me into singing, and I would sing, and that's pretty much where it started for me. But I got interested in playing guitar by watching my big sister. My big sister was an accomplished musician. She played with some blues musicians that came to be popular later on, like Michael Burks. She played with his father.
Wow.
On bass guitar.
Okay.
And it was a guy by the name of E.D. Mullins on keyboard.
Okay.
And Bobby Joe Hendricks played drums for her. So I started watching her, and I was too young to go to the club. Of course, we're talking 67, 68, long in them years.
Mm-hmm.
But it also used to be some ladies that used to come to our house and would practice singing in church. So she was a guitar player for a quartet group that sang.
Okay.
And I saw that also. So all this put the spirit and the desire of music in me. And then my sister left home in 65. She moved from Arkansas, moved to Michigan.
Okay.
So by 71, 72, she had come back for a couple visits. In 72, I believe it was. She come home for that summer, and I was just coming home with her just to come up for a visit. And before, I thought I would be going to school. And before the summer was out for school, my mother had called and changed the whole plan, said, don't send him back, put him in school. And the rest of the family pulled up roots, and that's how we end up in Michigan.
Wow.
And so when I moved in with my guitar player sister, she had a guitar right there. I could put my hands on it. And so, that's what started me.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna come back to you because I want to take the next question here. I'm gonna start over here on my left. Let's talk for a moment about how you got involved, all of you, in your first band. Okay, what was your first paying gig? Larry, I'm going to start with you.
My first paying gig was a wedding for a lady at our church with Steve and our other brother, Carl. It was 3 of us. We started out McCray Brothers, and that was our first paying gig at a wedding.
No
I think
kidding.
they gave us $100 to come and play their wedding or something like that.
That's
This
cool.
must have been about 77.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. All right. How about your first paying gig? And this is
I
going to,
did a cigar box guitar or a cigar commercial for Sindicato Cigars. I built them a guitar and played it for them with
did you really?
my friend Kevin Collier, and yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Very neat. Larry, Steven?
I mean, it's pretty much what he said about the wedding thing. And then we started from there, like little parties and basement gigs and outdoor yard parties.
Playing in the
and
street.
stuff.
We used to play in the street all the
Block
time
parties,
just for the hell of
whatever,
it.
you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
But
cool.
it started probably with that thing he's talking about, a wedding reception.
Okay. Charlie, yes, get yours.
My first gig was with that band I mentioned where I was a lead singer. I was a lead singer because they wouldn't let me near a guitar, and we all packed up. We have 5 guys, drum kits, amps, guitars, and the drummer's 1959 Chevy 4-door, and it had holes rusted right through the floor in the back seat. So you sit in the back seat, you could throw your cigarette butt right out through the hole in the floor. You didn't have to throw it down the window. So we drove.
You got some reaction out of the audience.
Don't try that now, though. But we drove to somewhere up in the thumb, Sandusky or somewhere, and played
Okay.
a school dance. So we're 15 and 16. We got a gig playing a school dance. Girls are coming up and talking to us. And I couldn't get a girl in my own high school to talk to me. And these girls are coming and talk to us. They paid us $25, $5 a piece. I remember the guitar player on the way back home holding up that $5 bill saying, "We made it, man, we made it." But, you know, $5 back then, that was a half tank of gas, a carton of cigarettes, and a Happy Meal, you know. So that was my first pay.
You got paid.
Yeah, man. All right. How about you, Rhett?
First paying gig would have been, I'm gonna guess 2015 or so. The band was not named at that point. We got a graduation party in Pinconning somewhere, and it was myself, Andrew Lee, and Brandon Ehlers. Andrew played bass and Brandon played drums, and they named us Flashback. And I think I might have made $50. Might have. I don't remember that, but I know we got paid for it, and you know, a little cardboard sign that said Flashback, and we started doing stuff locally.
Wow. And the rest is history.
Somewhat.
Yeah. All right, guys, here's a fun one. Talk about your worst Roadhouse moment on stage. Where was the gig? And if chicken wire was involved, you get extra points. Okay? I'm going to start back with you, Rhett.
Man, it'd take me a minute to think, because there's been a few where it's just been a little shaky.
Pick out the diciest one in your memory, man.
I think I might take a cop out and generalize, and just there's been quite a few of drunk people getting up on stage, trying to talk into the microphone, trying to talk to you while you're playing. I think I've had a couple of them with Steve. Somebody comes up and wants to talk to you. Hey, man, do you know this song? And you're in the middle of one. You're trying to do stuff. You know, you're trying not to hit them with your bass or with your guitar or with your drumsticks or something. And they're, hey, do you know this song? I don't know. Talk to me later.
Free bird.
How about you, Charlie? You got one?
Well, I used to play with a really good rock band called Spice over in the Mount Pleasant area. And we played a lot of weddings, and this would have been late 70s, early 80s. And we played a wedding up in Harrison where the daughter of a sheriff deputy was marrying a state trooper.
Uh-oh.
Okay? And so the whole place was all law enforcement officers. I say that with all due respect. And by the time we got halfway through the second set, every person, not exaggerating, every person in that hall, in that VFW hall or whatever it was beating on each other. Everybody in there. Old crippled man with a cane beating on a young kid. Women ripping their blouses off. Oh, we got to do that more. But everybody in that whole room, all the cops were there. So finally, the sheriff sent a wagon around and broke it up. I'm sure they didn't arrest anybody, but that's the worst fight I've ever seen. And it was all cops, and they were all beating on each other.
It was all cops.
It was all cops.
Man.
It was the daughter of a sheriff deputy marrying a state trooper.
Oh, man.
And somebody said something wrong, and they just started in. And as soon as the first punch flew, 5 minutes later, the whole room was beating each other up. Men, women, children. That's my worst Roadhouse moment.
All right. How about you, Steven?
Oh man, there's so many. I don't know.
Just pick a good one.
My whole career. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Original TNT.
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. But it was just one time we were in Detroit, Royal Oak, I think it was, playing with Larry, and this guy we knew that was a drummer came on stage and just doing me like this, motioning for me to give him the sticks, and he wanted to sit in the middle of a song. So I did it and gave him the sticks. And it sounded, once he got on the drums, like he was falling down the steps or something. Oh, no. It was like, I should have just like hit him with the sticks.
That was in
something.
Chicago. That was in Chicago.
No, that was Eldridge.
In Chicago.
You don't remember, but
Eldridge Lee lived in Aurora.
it was at the Fifth Avenue.
Okay.
Whatever, it's so many.
I remember the night. I don't know where it was at. I thought it was in
I
Chicago.
could think of probably a lot more. I got in a couple of scuffles and stuff.
Okay. Did you have any scrapes, or was it been pretty?
I didn't have scrapes, but you remember Cash O'Reilly? You guys know Cash O'Reilly. He had my wife and I. We went and did a setup at Outlaw Pete's. He did some sort of festival thing there, and it ended up being a big biker bar. Towards the end of the night, all these people are flooding.
Oh,
in.
man.
We didn't read the room right, I guess. We're still sitting there having our good time in our tent and guitars, and it's getting time to pack up, and we had to leave through a couple brawls.
Okay.
I think she got locked in a bathroom, and
Oh, man.
there was a big fight outside, and that one broke up. We could barely get our stuff in the trailer and leave.
Wow.
No more Outlaw Pete's.
Okay. Larry, how about you, man? I'm sure you've had your share.
I've had so many. I mean, I'm a magnet to disaster. And so any drunk, anybody on drugs, any wild person, anybody, any undesirable, they always seem to find, they come right to me. Me too. I don't have to look for them. They come right to me. And one night
Is Peggy nodding her head back there?
You could have a contest about.
Well, I've never even told her this story.
Okay.
But one night we were in a club down in Detroit as well, and we come off the set just like this. And you used to come off the stage, and the bathroom was just right around. You come off and you just duck right around at the old Cisco's, and you duck right around and you're in the bathroom.
Okay.
So we come down off the set one night, and I went into the bathroom to do my duties, and followed in behind me was this man's wife. And she wanted my t-shirt and my shirt or t-shirt, whatever I was wearing at the time. And she was already pretty liquored up. So by the time he got up from his chair and made it to the bathroom, she already had her shirt off, and wasn't nobody in the bathroom but just me and her. And I'm standing there trying to, like I don't know, that's not me.
That's your story anyway.
Yeah, that happened to me one night down at the old Sully's.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. So we, me and the man and his wife all became friends. And we see each other now. I saw him at your event when I played for you last this fall in where was that, Muskegon?
Yeah.
They come there, and I mean, you know, we all laugh about it now, but at the time, boy, you want to talk about a soldier on a hot seat? That was me.
Oh, man.
You know, trying to, you know, I'm like, you know, people are crazy. And I didn't know what to think of how he was going to react. You know, I went in the men's bathroom his wife was in the men's bathroom. So
What would you have done?
well, I'm just saying, you know, if it was any problem, he had a problem. I wasn't doing nothing I wasn't supposed to do.
Right,
Yeah.
man. All right, Larry, I'm going to start back with you and come back around. For those of you that have opened for a big name musician, who was it? How did it go? Any fanboy moments? Any moments that didn't quite go so well? I mean, early on, or
Anytime I was like starstruck or something like that, you mean?
yeah. Who's the biggest star you ever opened for?
Well, I didn't open for her, but I got invited to Aretha Franklin's dress rehearsal at the Navy Pier in Chicago.
Okay.
And the way that came about was that her musical director, H.B. Barnum, come to where we were playing one night in Chicago. And he liked the music so well, he invited me to come down and to meet the band, you know, to be the fly on the wall for the dress rehearsal and everything. So I went down, and she had about a 30-piece band, I think it was. Wow. Down there. She had timpani, kettle drum. Man. She had guitar, a couple of keyboard players. She had lady singers. It just was a massive thing. Strings. She had strings and horns. And the whole 9 yard, and her son was her musical director. So he was running. Well, actually, it was H.B. Barnum, but he, you know, was the musician that if they needed anything done, then I guess he told him what to do. But H.B. was kind of like, you know, with the wand and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Now I have to ask you, because you've got a huge storied career yourself. If I'm not mistaken, didn't you open for BB?
Oh, several times.
What was
all through the 90s?
What was opening for BB King like, man?
Well, I met BB in '86.
Okay.
And upon meeting him after the first meeting, everything was great. I mean, you know, I met and got a chance to know all the band members and everything. So we had a regular rapport with him because we opened shows for him all over the country through the 90s.
No kidding.
And so BB was very gracious, and he would always give our music a spin through the interlude for changeover. Like when we would play and do our thing, then when they changing over, he would play some of our music and stuff, and would always give Larry McCray a big round of applause. He was very gracious and very kind individual. I love B.B. King. B.B. King was just like what you think he would be. He was just a kind, good person and treated everybody with respect and kindness.
Yes, sir. Now, I wanted to ask you real quick while we're talking about BB, because as you know, today of all days, they released another 5 songs for the BB King Summit 100, okay, for his 100th birthday. Yeah. Talk about that, because Joe Bonamassa put this together. There's 40 musicians involved in this album. I was going to talk about this later, but I'm going to talk about it right now because it just feels normal, like it should. Talk about that call to be a part of that, because that had to be a huge honor for you.
It was a huge honor, and B.B. King was probably my first influence outside of my sister. I learned B.B. King's music, you know, some of his music first.
Okay.
And then from B.B. King, it was Albert King, Freddie King, Albert Collins. Then was my first study, you know, trying to become accomplished blues musician. And to be invited on this project, you know, so many times I go places, people tell me, you sound like B.B. King. You remind me of B.B. King. I mean, I get that more than anything. And I never thought that, you know, when I was young, I didn't like it so much because I thought that maybe, you know, they were boxing me in. And B.B. was much older, and I didn't want to be known as the old blues guy. I wanted to be the fiery, young rock blues guy, you know.
Right.
But as I aged and learned his significance and his contribution, and everything, I'm very proud to be in his likeness, you know,
yes,
for somebody
indeed.
to say you sound like him, that is an honor to me.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
indeed. How about you? You have any moments where you got
Not
to
like
open for
these
somebody,
guys.
or?
Not like these guys. No, I was an electrician,
Okay.
not a musician.
Okay. All right,
But
but you did One of your first guitars was made for a musician, was it not?
Not my first ones. They were
One of.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Tell us that story for a minute. We can tie that one
Well, it
in.
wouldn't have been my first one. You mean David Allen Coe?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cash O'Reilly. That was after I had been building for a while, though. I had many guitars under my belt by then. But I had helped him build some gas can guitars and maintain his. And one night he called me and said, hey, you want to build one for David Allen Coe? So we went to the machine shop, and he opened for him that night and got to meet the old guy and see him handle his guitar. It was kind of cool. They had the whole Outlaw chapter from Detroit come in the back door, and that was kind of weird.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Over the course of how many years have you been building now?
Since 2009, maybe.
Okay, so 16 years, roughly. Over the course of that 16 years, you've built some guitars for some pretty significant musicians in addition to David, haven't you?
Larry McCray.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And driftwood. We like to play around with the 3-string driftwoods, fretless, and
Yep.
make some cool sounds with them.
And there's a younger group that you told me about today.
Greta Van Fleet, yep. Built them 5 guitars from the stage out from Fisher Hall, Frankenmuth.
How cool is that? And that's where they're from, is Frankenmuth, of course.
I used to play on that stage, and they helped them do the remodel, so the Hall had me build guitars out of the stage.
Wow.
So,
And of course, you know, Rhett's over here nodding his head because Papa Kishka, the father of 3 of these boys from Greta Van Fleet, is in his band and plays with him occasionally as well. So that's pretty cool. I like those stories as well. Steven, how about you? Your biggest person you ever played with on stage, open for?
Bunch of
You got some pedigree, man. I know you do.
I mean, a lot of the things coincide with what Larry said earlier, you know. But I remember once we did a BB King's birthday party.
Oh wow!
At the
70th.
at the Hard Rock in Chicago. So we playing there, and all these musicians, Robert Cray and all these, everybody was coming in there, and so Tony Coleman got up on my drums and tried to kill him and stuff, you know. And I said I'd never let that dude play my drums anymore. But whatever. We took a break, and it was about that time, about a half hour later, whatever. It was time for BB to go cut the cake. So upstairs was the cake, and there was all these people standing around. They made like a little gauntlet for him to walk through, and he getting closer and closer to the cake. But I was standing in the crowd with everybody else, and he stopped right at me and shook my hand out of everybody else.
Wow.
How you doing, young man? Like that, you know. He remembered me from he hadn't even seen me play that night, but he remembered me from the other shows that we used to open and stuff. So that was pretty cool, I thought, you know.
I don't know if you remember one night too, Bernard Purdy showed up and wanted to meet you, wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
And that was always one of our heroes. Bernard did all the early Aretha Franklin sessions like Rocksteady.
Okay.
And he was known as Mr. Flash. You know, for us, Bernard was funky back, you know, growing up and stuff. So we heard a lot of his, a lot of his music. And we had finished the BB King show, and he come up to me first, and he said, "Hey, man, I really enjoyed y'all set and everything." I said, "Thank you, sir. You know, just like I do." And then I said, "What's your name, sir?" He said, "Bernard Purdy." When he said that, my mouth dropped right open. I said, "Hang on just a minute." And I ran and got Steve so he could meet Bernard, because, you know, being a drummer, I know that would really been important to him, you know, to meet him. So I went and got him, and he got a chance to talk to Bernard as well, and we hung out a few minutes, you know.
So did T.C. Coleman teach you how to play the drums with your hands too?
No.
I don't know. Have you ever seen video of this guy?
Yeah.
He's a monster, man. He's Tony Coleman. Yeah, he's a monster.
Yeah, he's a hard hitter.
But you also you've done some stuff for some other big name musicians, haven't you? Contributed on albums and whatnot.
Yeah.
Got any good stories on that one? Come on, man. I know you do.
I was in the studio with Junior Wells, Lucky Peterson,
Man.
Johnny B. Gayton, and Buddy Guy was on this. All of us was on the session together, you know,
Cotton.
doing some stuff for some of Junior Wells. I was on like 2 of his tracks.
I think
And
it was
what's the
Jatanis
album?
back in those days, huh?
Huh?
Was that Jatanis,
What do you mean?
the label?
Oh no, I was Telarc.
Telarc. Okay, I thought it was Jatanis.
Yeah, Better Off with the Blues.
Yeah, Better Off with the
That
Blues.
was the CD. Yeah.
He told me we caught it somehow. I don't know what it was. I said something about it or whatever, and he made a comment that he was on a couple of tracks on that album. So I went out and I bought the album like right away because I had to have it. I'm like, Steven's on this. I gotta have this, man. It's just cool. So
John Primer played on his. Me and Larry.
Oh, yeah.
We played together on his "Knocking at Your Door" CD.
Yeah.
On the whole CD.
nice.
Otis Rush.
Yeah.
Shoot, I'm trying to think here. John Snyder was the producer on a lot of those things back in those days. Otis Clay.
Mm-hmm.
Who else? I can't. It's hard to remember, you know.
Right.
You, Larry, played on Lucky's, what's it called? Spank and Leroy.
Frank and Leroy,
I was going through the publishing catalog today, and I come across Spank and Leroy, and it says Larry McCray on guitar. Yeah.
That was one of my most fun tracks too that I got a chance to play with him, and it's a video on Facebook of this man, this big dude, popping this girl around dancing, man, and
Like
they dancing
swing dancing.
to Spank and Leroy,
Yeah.
and it's something to see, man. It's so cool.
Hank and Leroy. I'm gonna have to go look that up, man.
It's a hot shuffle.
We'll have to throw.
And Lucky is all over that thing, man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. How about you, man? Any big moments for you?
Well, one of my biggest moments would be playing with Larry and Steve when we opened up for Bobby Bland in Chicago. That was pretty cool.
That's a pretty damn big moment.
But a really cool thing happened with Preston Shannon. He maybe is not quite as well known. He's a blues soul artist.
Memphis mainstay.
Memphis,
Yeah.
He's gone now, but this was several years ago when it was at the St. Louis Blues Festival in St. Louis, Michigan. I was playing in the band when we were up before Preston Shannon. Preston Shannon was the headliner that night. And so I'm tearing down my stuff because he's, the star's coming up, and he comes up to me and says, "Have you got to go somewhere?" I said, "Well, I'm getting this out of here, sir." He said, No. He said, "I'd like you to leave your piano right where it is." "Oh, you want to use?" "No, I want you to play my set with me." So he invited me to play his show with him, and it was wonderful. It was fabulous, and he gave me lots of space and lots of room.
Nice.
And we had a great night, and he paid me. I mean, I was thrilled just to be on the same stage with the guy. I mean, I really liked his music. I loved it. Anyway, so that was a treat for me.
There you go. All right, Rhett, you're up, man. And you can't say Larry.
Well, I mean, that's a portion of it. I do have to say, I got 2 of them that are kind of short, but I do have to say, I am starstruck it just absolutely every day, every week, because I get to learn from some of the best blues musicians that have ever come about. And I mean, Larry and Steve. But 2 that aren't anybody around here would be, I got to be You and Me, From You to Me Away from Johnny Winter.
Oh, man.
When he played at the Temple Theater, not Temple, the Masonic Lodge down there on Center.
Wow.
I stood Me to You away from
Here in
Johnny
town?
Winter. Here in town. And I forget who else was on that bill. It might have been, I don't think it was Larry. I think it might have been Thornetta, and Sugar Blue was on that bill. But I got to stand that close to Johnny Winter, and then as we were leaving, I had my big cowboy hat that, looked like a hat that Johnny Winter wore and stuff. As we were leaving, my car ended up being parked in front of his tour bus. So I'm walking out, going to my car, and he comes wheeling out the side of the Masonic Temple over there. And I said, "Great show, Mr. Winter." And he just kind of nodded his hat and up into the bus.
Wow.
But the second one was played the Lansing, Michigan Blues Festival here a couple, I think 2 years ago now. And I got to have my friends on stage, and we didn't open for anybody. We were the headliner.
Yes, you were.
And, some folks might have had some doing with that. But got to go on after Jim McCarty, which I found it really funny because the amp that I use is a Drip Edge 1968 Pro Reverb, and that's he uses, I think, a 71 or 72 Pro Reverb. And it was just funny because he was taking his off, I'm putting mine on, and they'd look
Same.
same. I'm like, nice amp. And he shook his hand. I got to meet Jimmy McCarty. I mean, I listened to Cactus for 10, 15 years. I'm like, yeah, it's a great guitar playing all over that, and all of his work with everybody else. It was just kind of a fun thing.
I think one of the coolest albums I've heard of Jim's. It's actually a posthumous release from Jimi Hendrix, and it's was it 9 to the Universe, I believe. And there's a cut on this album called the Jimmy Jam, and it's Jim McCarty and Jimi Hendrix jamming. Jimmy Jam. Jim doesn't want to talk about the album because it was done clandestinely. It was done, kind of in a bad way. But it's really cool to have it, regardless of the fact it's a bootleg.
Yeah.
Just to hear those two going at it, man, it's a crazy thing. All right, guys, we're going to flip the channel here. The biggest snafu moment you've ever had as a musician, starting with you, Rhett.
Very recent one. As people age, they tend to forget things. And I was headed down to Mount Pleasant to play with Steve and my friend Eric Ryden and Jeff Grossel. And I made it, because I live up north, I made it to about just a little bit south of Bay City. And looking around in the car, I'm like, I don't have my bass. Got everything else, but I don't have my bass. And now if it's a guitar, I can make do, because I'll know somebody somewhere. Hey, I could have called Larry. Hey, can I borrow a guitar for the night? Something. My bass. I don't really know a whole lot of bass players, and I'm sure that most of the ones that I do know are working. So I called my friend Jeff, because I'll throw some shade when he's not here to defend himself. He might leave a little bit later than I would. And so I called him, and he hadn't left yet. So he stopped past my house and grabbed my basses and
Pulled your bacon out of the fire.
Yeah, saved my rear end pretty good. I thought it was funny. I showed up. Yeah, we're going to sound check. I don't know what we're going to sound check with, but yeah, you can test my amp.
Charlie, how about you, man?
Well, I think of one right down the road here, right in Betts Park, early 70s, my band, the Draytons, and I had this Wurlitzer electric piano, and it was a outdoor concert, with some event in the park, and they had a couple of bands, and we were one of the bands. And I used to use this wooden box to put all my junk in, and then I'd sit on it. I didn't need a fancy stool or anything. So I'm rocking away on my wooden box, and I'm toward the edge of the stage. And right about the time they're going to show a solo and say, "Take it, Charlie," I went back off the back end of the stage. My wooden box.
Oh, man.
I went off the back end of the stage, and all they could see was my feet when it was time for my solo. I didn't get hurt or anything, but that was a pretty big snafu.
Yeah, no kidding. Steven, how about you, man?
Once playing at the Hamilton Street Pub in Saginaw, the drum riser was like way up.
Okay.
Probably like 4 feet.
Chest high.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chest high.
So back in the day, I had those old drums that Carl gave me, and the stands had the three tri legs on it, and it wasn't that sturdy.
Okay.
So I'm playing, be in the middle of a set, and all of a sudden I crashed that cymbal once, and the whole thing come falling down and missed Carl by like that much.
Edgewise, it would have chopped him. It would have chopped him right in the head.
It would have busted him in the head if it had a head.
The whole stand, the cymbal, and all
cymbal, everything.
Oh, man.
Just like that.
Wow.
I mean, that was pretty crazy right there. So
Yeah, no kidding.
it made me invest in some better cymbal stands.
I'll bet. Yeah. Well, I don't normally dive in with a story, but I'm going to share the story because the last time I did one of these Storytellers Clubs episodes, I was at Motor City Josh's studio down in Detroit, okay? Metro Detroit, he's northern suburbs. And I asked that question, and everybody came to the table with a quote, with an answer, and they all told their stories. Long story short, I get done and I go stop the recorder on my computer, and I push play, and all I hear is audio from that camera right there.
Oh, wow.
Nothing from the microphones, guys. I didn't do a mic check. And
So you didn't record nothing.
something wasn't set right in the software, so it didn't record any of the audio. All it had was the audio off the. So you hear this great big hollow cavernous room, and that's the audio that you have. And I call them up, and they're like, "Oh no. You ask about our snafu, you just got yours. Air it like it is."
Yeah.
And so it's out there. It's on the channel. You can go check it out. Yeah. How about you? What are you smiling about? You got a story, don't you?
I don't have that many stories for being on stage, but I guess one time I had to do a guitar giveaway at the Freeland Blues Fest. There was a whole bunch of people out, and so they wanted me to play it, and I thought, oh yeah, I can do that. You know, so I thought I'd be all cool and stuff and get up there, and I wasn't. Bad. They're all looking at me like, what is he doing? They couldn't wait for me to leave. I don't know who won the guitar because I left.
Oh man, I've had those days. How about you, Larry?
Those nights.
I've had many, but one that's kind of memorable. I was in Weinheim, Germany, and I watched these guys break my flying V guitar right in front of my face.
Oh man.
They wasn't. It was an accident. They wasn't trying to do it, but I had my guitar propped on the wall. So these guys that were the sound men, they come in and they were rearranging some speakers or whatnot, and the cables were behind my guitar, and they wanted to move the speakers. They moved the speakers, and the cable caught the guitar and threw it right down on his face in the case. And when I opened it up, the headstock raised right up out the case like that. And so we were on tour, and we ended up having to drive somewhere to a luthier that reset my headstock and fixed it and everything the best he could for me to finish the tour, which it worked fine, but I didn't even want it no more with a broken headstock like that. So Gibson Guitar arranged for me to have a loaner.
Oh man.
And I got the loaner guitar and I finished the tour, but it was a totally strange guitar. And from that point on, let me know that I play guitar. Guitar don't play me. And so I stopped having favorites. Anything that I have to play, I can't play it. But that's what really freed my mind up to let me know that I could do that. They all are basically the same functionally.
Yeah.
And, I had to go cold turkey right there on the spot on the gig. They broke my baby, so I got to play what they brought for me.
Were you ever able to get the Flying V fixed correctly?
The guy that did it over there, he did a really good job for me, but I broke it 2 more times after that. And the third time it was broke, I sent it back to Gibson Guitar, and they put a new neck on it, and a whole new thing, So my particular brown one doesn't have a serial number because it's a replacement.
No kidding.
Can I ask Larry a question?
Yeah.
Based on that?
Yeah.
Larry, when you went to record Heartbreak City in Los Angeles last September, did you take a guitar with you?
I took a little Gill guitar.
Oh, you did?
I played that little red Gill.
I was under the impression you just played whatever Joe had in his collection.
The only thing I used it on my guitar on was the lead on Heartbreak City, Bright Side,
Okay.
and Everything Falls on Me.
But you're mostly playing strange
I
guitars.
played all of Joe's guitars.
Yeah.
The whole session, I used all his guitars, just except for those 3 songs. Yeah.
Is that what got you spoiled to the point where you wanted to get the one you've got with you tonight?
I've wanted a heritage guitar for years.
Yeah.
And just never was able to happen. And about 2 months ago, Jake Kershaw, who's a fine young guitar player, he lives on the other side of the state. I knew him when he was young. And when he come out, he got in good with Heritage right away. They built him a custom guitar. And he called me on the phone one day, and we were talking, and before the conversation over, he said, Larry, how come you don't play Heritage? I said, Jake, I've been trying to get one of them for about 30 years. He said, man, I'm going to call Pete Farmer. And he texted me Pete Farmer's number.
Wow.
And next thing I know, I get a text from Pete Farmer, and he said, hey, why don't you come by Heritage Guitar sometime and talk to me? Hell, just come by for a visit. Maybe we can talk guitar. And that's what started it right there. And the second conversation, I end up with one.
Now it's important to note that when you got that call, you were on the road, right?
No, I had just come home.
Okay, yeah, because you
were
were out with Devin Allman.
I had one more day before it was time for me to leave again. So after I spoke with him, I told him what my endeavors were. I told him that I would love to be a Heritage Guitar representative. I thought that they were fine instruments. I love to play one.
Oh, yeah.
And I told him that I was on tour and that I could use a loaner if he had anything, just to see what he would say. I said, although I know that's kind of short notice, I said, if you had something, I could use something now. He said, well, maybe it ain't too short a notice. He said, give me a couple hours and let me call you back. So he called me back in about an hour and said, hey, I got a Les Paul H115 over here. How soon can you get here? I said, well, when do you close? And he said, at 3 o'clock. Well, I said, I can't be there at 3, but I'll be there before 4. I said, I'll be there about 3:30. And I jumped right up and went to Kalamazoo right on the spot. And I drove over there and got it.
Now, for those that are in the room with us tonight, he just got back from a tour with Devin Allman. He was just getting ready to go out on the Big Blues Bender.
Mm-hmm.
And following that, you went on the KTVA cruise with Joe Bonamassa.
Right. But in between that, I had a second leg of the Devin Allman tour.
Oh, you had a second leg? Okay.
Yeah, we had 13 more dates with him.
Wow.
And I did those 13 dates, and then I went to the cruise.
Man, so
Yeah.
you really got to break her in good, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. I got a good dose.
All right. What do you think of the Heritage, man? You've had it for a while. What do you think?
I love it. I absolutely love it. It's one of the most sturdy and stable Les Pauls that I've had my hand on in a while, and I really like their pickups. They wind their own pickups right there at the factory. And the factory is the old Gibson. It's really the original
Yes, sir.
Gibson guitar plant.
And some of the same luthiers that worked for Gibson stayed, correct?
The Gibson guitar sold out to Heritage, and well, actually, Gibson guitar moved to Nashville. And when they moved to Nashville, all the Michigan luthiers didn't want to pick up their roots and go to Nashville, so they stayed in the factory and started Heritage Guitar. They said, we ain't gonna build Gibson no more. We gonna start our own thing, and that's how they got a sponsor, because it was all the senior luthiers.
Man.
All the old cats who knew all the handwork and stuff.
Yeah.
And so they started that company.
I remember what you said when I called you. I said, well, what do you think of that new guitar? Because he told me that he got a new one, He said, it plays like butter.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to start with you, Larry, because we're over on this side of the table. Again, for the performers that have done this, is there anybody that you have not shared the stage with that you wish you had or could be living or not?
Oh. Well, yeah, one of them would be Ray Charles. I really think he was iconic. Ray Charles, James Brown, Aretha Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
On the guitar side, it would. I got a chance to be in the presence of my 3 heroes: B.B., Albert King, and Albert Collins. The only one I missed was Freddie.
Freddie, yeah.
So if I could do that, that would be great. I did get a chance to, in terms of heroes, I got a chance to work with Hubert Sumlin.
Oh man.
With James Cotton, with Candy Staton, and that would be the most recent and the latest, and Dr. John.
Okay.
Dr. John as well. Yeah.
All right. How about you?
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
And Lee Batts.
Lee Batts. That's right.
Kevin Collier.
All right.
Steve knows Lee Batts.
That's cool. That's cool. Steven, how about you, man?
I don't know. I always liked Johnny Guitar Watson. Wish I could have met him, man, and jammed with him. He's got some cool music, funky blues, you know. That would have been one of my guys. I would have really liked to jam with him.
All right. Charlie?
You know, I've always wanted to write a song or play piano behind Bonnie Raitt. I'd like to go on a two-week tour with her, you know.
There you go.
It'll happen.
Well, you never know. I mean, somebody might make sure she sees the video. Who knows? You never know, man.
Piano on stage or something.
Yeah, I mean, you've done work with this guy, so that's pretty big.
Pretty big right there.
Yes, you bet. Rhett, how about you, man?
A ton of them. But I'm going to say probably 90% of my heroes are dead. But two of the biggest ones for me would have been not necessarily even having to play with anybody, but just to see Albert Collins and Freddie King. That would, you know, I just wish I could have seen Albert Collins once. Just something, because, you know, the stories that I hear and him going out of the club and ordering a pizza or buying a pop on his 150-foot cable, still playing, going and buying something from the store next door, coming back around and getting back up on stage and play. I mean, the guy had to have been just wicked showman, and just I love that kind of stuff. And I'm gonna say definitely Albert Collins if I could have any one of them.
That's a good one.
I have an Albert story. Once we were touring, our first major tour was Gary Moore, and he kept us in Europe for about 6 months. So we went to, what was the Berlin? We went to Berlin, and it was a place there called Quasimodo's. So it was Gary Moore, Albert Collins, and our band. So after our gig was all over, Albert Collins said to me, he said, "Hey, they tell me Hubert and them playing just up around the block. Come walk with me around here." So we walked together, and we found this place called Quasimodo's where that Hubert was playing. Well, also playing on the bill was Louisiana Red. You might be familiar with Red or whatnot, but Louisiana Red was a big man, a big, tall, big, square, barrel-chested man. So I walked into the club with Albert Collins, and when Louisiana Red looked up and saw Albert Collins, he started at the back. He ran up to Albert. He said, "Ah!" And he grabbed him, and he picked him up like a baby, and he jumped pogo style over that whole club. He started around that with Albert, and it said he jumped Albert over that whole club. And it went like, And then when it was all over with, when we were leaving, going back to where we were supposed to be at, I asked Albert, "What was that all about?" He said, "Man," he said, "when I met Red," he said, "Red come to California whenever it was in the 60s. And he said when he met Louisiana Red had a guitar and was sleeping in a tree in the park. And he gave him a place to stay, and, you know, they became friends and stuff like that. So when, I'm sure he didn't expect to see him over in Germany, you know, Albert just walked up and surprised him. And when he looked up and saw him, that's what he had for him. He jumped him over the whole club.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
All right. Rhett, I'm going to start back with you. Dig deep for this one, if you would. Tell me about the most fun you've ever had, be it on stage or in the studio.
On stage or in the studio?
Your choice.
All of it. I can't pick one. It's just, every time I get to do it, it's just it's a whole lot of fun. For those folks that don't know, I get to, now, I have a built-in drummer at home that my wife plays drums, and get to take her on the road, and we get to have a lot of fun together.
You don't refer to her as the built-in drummer, do you?
No. But, I mean, we get to have a lot of fun, and I'd say some of my most memorable times playing have been, her throwing drumsticks at me when I, miss something, or, go around one more time, and she's trying to end, I'm going to pick that, yeah.
Okay. All right. How about you, Charlie?
Man, I had a lot of fun playing, just about every time. But if I have to, I guess I'd pick my first gig with the McCray Brothers band. back in the late 80s, opening up for the Kinsey Report at the Michigan Festival.
Oh, man.
dancing and playing with this fabulous blues band. And in front of all these people, I was just, man, I was 10 feet tall. I'll tell you that.
Them were some good days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No kidding. Steven?
Probably I like recording and being on studios and stuff. We did a Lansing Community College, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we did a set over there. They recorded it, and that was
State.
Oh, was this the
Michigan
video
State.
Huh?
at the TV station? The video
yeah.
behind backstage.
Backstage pass. That's
Backstage
State.
pass. There you
That
go.
was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
That's
And
Michigan
that video's still out there on YouTube, by the way.
yeah, it is. And another one that's on YouTube is called "Rock My Ass."
Yeah.
I remember.
And we had just left a gig here in Bay City at the Lantern, the old Lantern,
Oh, down by the river.
playing on the patio, and it was summertime. So packed up the gear, drove straight to what was it, St. Charles, Illinois?
Right
whatever.
outside of Chicago, yeah.
And as soon as we got there, we
And
had to
drove
set up.
right to. I mean, it wasn't no time to.
Yeah, we didn't
brush
go to the
teeth or
hotel, nothing.
We drove right up and drove right there and started setting up.
And I
for
thought
the-
it was going to be a terrible show, but looking at the video, it's probably one of the best
of the better ones.
performances that we've got on recording to
Okay.
this date.
Yeah, and everybody was beat tired.
If you get a chance, go check it out. It's Larry McCray, Rock My Ass.
I'll put the link up on the episode, I promise.
Part 1 and part 2. It's on YouTube. Yeah.
Okay. All right. How about you?
Well, I was lucky enough to go set up at my tent, my guitars at some Larry McCray shows and Blackberry Smoke and
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that.
a bunch of different Chilean blues fest, Thornetta Davis, and Three Dog Night was at a couple.
Sam Fish.
Yeah, got to hang out with Aaron Coburn a lot.
Yeah, Sam
Man.
Fish.
Rhett Yocum was at a lot of those.
John Primer was at that show.
Kershaw, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And Marcus King.
Yeah.
Yeah, Marcus
John
King.
Mayhaw was that?
Yeah, yeah,
I got dent in my truck out
Yeah.
there because of John Mayhaw.
yeah.
Wow.
My
Larry,
John Mayhaw dent.
How about you, man?
Well, like I say, I've had many experiences, but one that is so high on my list is getting a chance to work with Candy Staten in the studio because outside of Aretha Franklin and Gladys Knight, I have always felt that that was my third pick. She was them. I couldn't never figure out which one of them I liked. Aretha probably was my absolute favorite, but I mean, I love Gladys Knight just that much. And I love Candy Staten just as much as I love Gladys. So I got a chance to meet her son, first of all. And I had no idea that she was recording, but he records her at his house. And we did some gigs together down in Macon, Georgia. And so her son Marcus told me, he said, Mama gonna be coming over doing some vocals today. He said, y'all come on by there. I said, man, I don't want to ruin the session. I just wanted to meet her and say hello, and everything. I just really would love to get a chance to say hello to her and let her know I've been listening to her ever since I was 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
And so I got a chance to meet her. She was the nicest lady in the world. She heard me hit a couple of licks and asked me if I wanted to play. And then the next thing I know, I was singing on it.
Oh, man.
And so, she asked me, how much do I owe you? And all that stuff. And I said, Miss Staten, you don't owe me nothing. I said, it's my honor to do so. And I also got a chance to tell her that if I had had my choice about it, that I would have been the male version of Candy Staten because she had them kind of vocals.
Okay.
And
all right.
and that's what I loved about her,
Man.
Yeah.
Man. All right, guys. Single biggest gift that you feel you've received as a musician. Larry, I'm going to start with you.
No, it's hands down. When we finished our first tour in Europe, Gary Moore gave me a custom 1957 Stratocaster. It was a limited edition. It was 440 of 500 made. There's 500 of them made, and I got number 440 signed and plated from Gary, and I still have it.
Wow. You'll have to show me next
To
time.
Larry from Gary, June of either 1991, I think it was.
Now, am I wrong? Did you have a guitar that was built by the luthier that built one for Freddie King?
Albert King.
Albert King.
But it was not the luthier.
Okay.
The luthier who built my guitar was trained by the guy, trained by Dan Earlywine, who was the one who built Lucy for Albert King.
Okay.
Yeah. It wasn't Earlywine.
That was the one you showed Dan and I.
Yes, it was one of his understudies.
All right. Cool. How about you? Any good stories? Some good gifts?
I don't really have any good gift. Maybe my bone slide from Randy Brutz. I think it's magic.
That's where you got that from?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Larry's got one. Mojo Bone Works.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, is that one you gave me also?
Yeah.
Okay. Man, now I feel special.
Two tones. It's two tones in color, but it's two tones in sound. This is bone and this is wood, right?
Yep.
And so the bone don't sound nothing like the wood, but they both have their own personality. So it's a two-tone.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Right.
See, learn something new every day. Steven, how about you, man? Greatest gift you ever got as a musician? And it could be a lesson. It could be a real gift.
Say maybe not nothing material, but just the fact that I've been on stage with so many different musicians and different styles and stuff, I think that's made me the drummer that I am today. I can jump in with a lot of different genres, and I know how to play with bands and when to break down, and just learning that stuff, and the fact that I know that stuff and I've locked it in my brain.
Control the dynamics.
Yeah, I can just being able to play with almost any kind of music. You know, I'm not really a jazz guy per se, but I can dabble with it a little bit, but mostly all the other genres I'm kind of fluid in, you know, so I think that just it made me a better musician by all the musicians that I've played with.
All right.
Different diversity.
Charlie?
Well, the best physical gift, I guess. I was in Arkansas with Larry and Steve. I got there a couple days early, and I'm hanging. It was for the King Biscuit Blues Festival in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there a couple days early, and I got the motel room at the Delta Inn. And the headliner band, they were staying in rooms right next to me, and I knew who they were, and they're real nice guys. And they invited me to their room to hang out after the show, and their drummer gave me a hat. Levon Helm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I thought about wearing it tonight. I should have.
Oh, you should have.
We're talking, just shooting the shit about Ray Charles and Seattle and this and that. And he just pulled up his bag and he pulled out a hat. And he said, "Here you go." He gave me a hat.
Wow. He used to be walking around down there all the time down there at the Biscuit, you know.
Yeah.
He was from Fordyce, which is not a long way from, you know, from Helena down up in there.
He in that room, in his room, there were so many people coming and going. Charlie Dick. I met Charlie Dick that night.
Was Danko?
You know who? Charlie Dick was Patsy Cline's husband.
Okay.
He was in there talking about a documentary, and Rick Danko was in there. You know, all those guys were hanging out in there, and I was just drinking beer and shooting the shit with Levon.
Man, how cool is that?
Thanks to Larry and Steve.
All right, Rhett, tell the story, man.
That's what I was gonna say. That's if it's not a setup, I don't know what it is. The greatest gift that I've probably gotten as a musician was being freshman. So I had to been 14 years old when Larry and Steve came to my high school because Mark Williams and played in the band. Larry played in the band room and just absolutely blew me away because I didn't know that existed. I had absolutely no clue, none whatsoever. And I watched the band play. I don't know who. I know it was Steve and Larry. I don't know. I think it was
Stan, my cousin.
Your cousin. I was gonna say I think your cousin on bass. I don't know who was on keyboards.
Steve Boone, maybe.
either Boone or that boy from Lansing.
I know he had a hat. He had a hat with a feather in it. That's all I remember. And he did have a real Leslie, but ended up Larry brought a couple first act guitars with him, and I was one of the people that ended up walking away with. There was a first act guitar and a bass, and my name got drawn out of a hat, and it just absolutely started. I know Larry didn't know what he was starting. I know Steve didn't know what they were starting. Nobody had absolutely no idea, that I'd be doing this kind of stuff.
And it's been how many years now?
20?
20 years.
20, 21. Yeah. I'm 35 now, so.
And you're pretty much
2004.
considered part of the McCray family, an extended member of the family. Am I?
Good friends, but
Rhett McCray.
Rhett McCray.
Rhett McCray. I guess it's official, Rhett. All right, guys. If you could go back in time and talk to your younger self, what kind of advice would you give to that younger self? I'm going to start with you, Rhett.
Hit it hard and hit it fast. I mean, don't wait around for nobody else, because nobody's going to wait around for you. If, I wouldn't have some of the things that I have today, and I'm thankful for those. But also, get on it. Hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard, and you got to get on it. And the only other thing I can say is that no matter what, no matter your deepest low, there's something brighter on the other side. There always is.
Right.
It without fail.
All right, Charlie.
Well, if I could go back and see the younger me, I'd probably slap him, but it worked out okay, so I don't want to jinx it, Worked out okay.
Hey, Steven, how about you, man? You get to follow that.
I don't know. I probably would have tried to study more technique in college or with an instructor or something, because everything I know, I was self-taught, the whole, whatever you see me do, nobody showed it to me. So
That's pretty impressive, though.
I mean, it was all just something made up in my mind, but I wish I would have got into more of the technical side of learning how to play and read and all that stuff. But
Sure.
that's probably about it.
Okay.
Steve, can I interject for just 1 second?
No.
You don't need anybody to teach you.
No.
That's what makes you.
He didn't need any of that stuff.
That's what makes you 100%
Appreciate it, man.
damn good.
All right, Jason, over to you.
That's right.
What would you
Younger
say-
self, right?
What would you say to your younger self?
I would have told myself to get into music sooner and get out of the construction work.
Okay. Short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah, I did electrical for 37 years. What a waste.
Larry?
I would have been a little more assertive business-wise and not been so passive and happy and content with just playing and not taking care of my business. The music business taught me that it's 90% business and 10% music. And so I approached it all wrong. I was all about trying to be the best musician that I could and not really paying attention to the business. And it really cost me, later, after the fact, So I would have been a better businessman if I could have.
I would say that probably the last 6 or 7 years have probably been some of your best years, haven't they?
Well, things have turned around considerably since my involvement with the Bonamassa camp, but it still ain't picture perfect, and it ain't made up for all them lost days, all them lost years, So I'm still out here working now like a young man, but it long as I can get there physically and get to a stool or get to a spot and sit down, I still have a lot of fun. It's still fun to play. I still enjoy playing.
Yes, sir. And I want to, while we're talking about the Bonamassa camp, you have got, we already talked about the BB King Blues Summit 100. You also have an incredible album out called Heartbreak City right now. Been out since springtime.
June 13th.
June. Okay, so
on my kid's birthday.
there you go.
Uh-huh.
how's it been going, man? You been having a good time with it?
You know, it really feels good to make the playlist. You know, I've supported Bluesville ever since it's been one.
Yes, sir.
And my frustration have always been that, you know, they wouldn't give my music a play, and not to have the wrong attitude about it, but a lot of the music that they play I thought was much worse than what we had to offer. And I could never figure out why that we couldn't get an opportunity with them, but with a bigger name behind you and a bigger endorsement, you know, everything is wide open. So I've been on the chart for the last since June, July, August, September, October, November. This is the 5th month. And I worked with a publicist that worked with all of the other blues bands.
Is that John?
No, with
okay.
Michelle Castilla.
Oh, yeah.
But she said that that's unheard of. She said, man, you're doing great. She said, that's unheard of. Yeah. So I'm happy to know that, you know, I'm getting a fair shake and a good go at it.
And it's a great thing, because I do subscribe to Sirius XM. Driving down the road and I hear one of those songs come on, Bright Side or whatever. It's just,
I heard they've been playing it. I don't have.
They have been playing your music, brother.
I heard that they have, so I'm glad to know that.
And if I get a chance while I'm out and about, if I can safely do it, I'll snap a picture of my screen and I'll put it up on Facebook and tag you.
Yeah.
And that's what I've done in the past.
Yeah.
But it's really cool, because I mean, I know that you worked a lot of years, man. And it's like you said, for whatever reason, you didn't, in my opinion, and you've heard Joe say it, you know, there's nobody in your class. You are the last of the blues shouters, the Rust Belt blues shouters out there. But he's felt like you're a national treasure. He even said so on the interview with me. And
Joe have a deep appreciation for blues music, because, you know, okay, he took it to a whole different place.
Sure.
But in terms of his early influences and what really made him sink his teeth in on guitar was blues music. His videos of him out there when he was just a kid, and he opened for B.B. King when he was 11. Yep. So he told me, I'll be quick, he told me a story about when he was in elementary school. And so he had been out touring with B.B. King that summer when he was 11. So when he come back to school, it was Friday, you know, everybody's show and tell what you've been doing. So Mr. Bonamassa, what you been there? Well, I've been out touring with B.B. King and all this stuff. And so he said his teacher was insulted by, you know, him telling and thought that he was just sitting in line making up all this stuff. And so they talked to his parents and everything. And when his parents come in and when they seen all the newspaper articles and seen who he was, they all had to eat crow, and they was, oh, Mr. Bonamassa, you know, they had to, cause they was, you know, really gonna punish him, I guess, for lying.
Man.
And he wasn't lying. You know, he'd been out touring with BB when he was 11.
Yeah, and he was a child prodigy. I mean,
so I mean, you know, the only thing that I regret about that situation, I wish I could have knew Baby Bonamassa, because I have seen some film and stuff of him, and I'm just about 20 years older than him.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have liked to know that little baby. He seemed like a nice little kid, that little baby kid. I wish I could have knew him.
Maybe you could pick up some guitar licks from him at that age.
Maybe that too. Yeah.
All right, guys, I got one more question for you. This is the last one of the lot here. For those of you that would like to put your information out there, and Larry, I'm going to start with you. Single most important part of this, tell people where they can go to learn more about Larry McCray or whomever's going to be speaking, order some music from you, book you for a gig, etc.
Okay. Well, if you want to know about where I am and where my live performances are, they are at LarryMcCrayOfficial.com.
Okay.
For anybody seeking to get my music, I have Bandcamp. Go to Larry McCray Bandcamp, and I have all of my music that's been published on there. So, you know, I'm very accessible at those two sites, Larry McCray Official and at Larry McCray Bandcamp.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You can go
How about
to
you, Jason?
Highwood Guitars on Facebook. You can find all my art that I've a lot of the guitars I've built on there, and I have a YouTube channel where you can hear a lot of them played.
And you ought to follow him on Facebook. He's fun because he's always putting videos out there. You know, playing those guitars. It's
I'd
really
like to
cool.
do a lot of ambient stuff, storytelling type music.
Yeah, love it.
Things like that.
All right, Steven.
I don't really tour that much anymore,
Okay.
but I still play locally a lot. I'm the regular drummer in Soul Express, and I got a thing going on with Rhett and Eric Ryden and Jeff Grazel. It's called Eric Ryden and the Uncle Funk. I'm the Uncle Funk.
Okay, the Unk of Funk.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I do that, and then every now and then I still go out with Larry. So I'm playing with Larry on the 28th and at the Token Lounge this month.
Oh, see you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and but I mean, you know, I'm on Facebook. I just post a lot of funny videos and music stuff. So I'm always
Henry the donkey.
I'm always around doing something. Yeah, Henry.
You know, it just occurred to me before I go any further, I need to stop for a minute, do a hard reset, because Charlie, I wanted to talk to you about this last album that you worked on with Larry. You've got a couple songs on that album, don't you?
Three.
Well, tell us about them. What songs do you have?
Well, the opening track, Try to Be a Good Man, which came from a demo that Larry and Steve and I did on Coldwater Lake in the late 90s. And then it finally saw light of day when Larry recorded it. And then the third track is Bye Bye Blues, which I wrote especially for Larry, especially for this album. And that one, that was the first single that was released. And then the other one is a very unusual song called Hangman, which is, you scratch your head, how did this song ever get on a contemporary blues album? But there's a whole story behind Hangman, which includes Scott Baker, one of the writers.
Right.
So.
And you can ask Larry, that's one of my favorite songs on that album.
Right off the bat, the first time he heard it, he picked Hangman.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites. So,
It carries a strong message, though. Hangman really does. So I can see how that might might catch somebody who never heard it before.
When the deeper you got into that song, especially because I had heard some of the backstory during my interview with Charlie about the rewrite that you did and taking it a different direction with the young man in the last verse, really makes it stand out. If you don't know what we're talking about, go get the album, Heartbreak City. You got to have it. It's a great album. And you guys even got Grammy consideration early on in the process, didn't you?
It was submitted. Submitted, but didn't get the nomination.
But it still got consideration. I mean, I haven't heard Larry McCray in that discussion often enough.
I hope that I'll get another shot at it,
Well, you're young enough. I think you will.
I'm glad you think so. I'm scared.
You're only a few years older than me, so I don't want to hear it, man.
I'm still scared.
All right, Charlie, where can we send people to check out more information on you, sir?
I have a gig. I have a rock and roll gig in 2 weeks at Rubbles in Mount Pleasant with Mike Rise and the Rising Walrus Band. And I also play with Crazy Chester, You can find us on Facebook. And if you want to know about any other stuff, it's charliewalmsley.com. And if you want to buy my music, just buy Larry's last 2 albums, and I'll be real happy about that.
Right in there, we all in together.
All right, Rhett, how about you, man?
Well, I'm going to say I'm a wicked slacker and don't have any websites to send anybody to. But
if you still don't. I interviewed you almost a year ago, didn't I?
I'm fixing cars. I'm
fixing cars, fixing amps.
Fixing cars, fixing amps, working on guitars. And I just get too far behind on my projects. But you can find just about anywhere I'm playing at, either at Eric Ryden and the uncofunk.com, which is me on bass, and then Steve, Jeff, and Eric, or the Rhett Yocum Blues Band on Facebook, Papa Kizka on Facebook, or the Vortex Jazz and Blues Band.com, or on Facebook.
Sounds good. Larry and Steve McCray, Jason Mills, Charlie Walmsley, Rhett Yocum. I want to thank you guys for taking the time and being here today. when I sit down to do these episodes, it's always fun because you heard the stories start flowing, and there's nothing more exciting to me than to be able to collect these stories and be able to preserve them for all the time, because it's this episode will end up on the Blues Archive at the University of Mississippi. So
great.
it's going to be great for those episodes, for those stories to be preserved, and it's one of the reasons that I love to do what I do.
Is that in Oxford?
It is.
Oxford, Mississippi?
Yes, sir, it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Played there with the Harmon brothers.
Yeah. Name dropper over here.
Well, that's how I knew where it was at. I mean, and also the home of Fat Possum.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before we wrap up here, I want to remind you that it takes an estimated 5,000 music streams to raise the equivalent of a $20 CD purchase. I couldn't believe that either, but it's true. And I have made it my policy to buy music from the artists first. Larry can attribute to that or attest to that. And then and only then will I allow myself to check out the streaming options. I look at it this way. If we want to keep live music out there, we need to support these artists. And trust me, they will thank you and they will appreciate it every single time. Okay?
Greg Nagy just made a post today that AI has the number one music in our category right now.
Isn't that crazy?
Ain't that crazy?
It made the charts. AI.
Yeah. Number one.
Crazy.
AI.
Support live music. That's what it all comes down to. And that wraps up this edition of Time Signatures. Once again, my thanks to my guests, Larry and Steve McCray, also Jason Mills, Charlie Walmsley, and Rhett Yocum, but also to you. For without you, none of this would be possible. And our thanks to the audience. Hey, give yourselves a great big hand. We got probably 20, 25 people sitting here in the Dunlop Garage in Bay City. Thank you all so much for being here. Jim Ervin reminding you, keeping the blues alive is everyone's responsibility, but preserving the history of the blues, one story at a time, that's my mission. Until next time, so long, everybody.
All right.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Ervin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.
Baby, I'm